son's name, Dick something or other, but he had gone through the cemetery and put little ribbons on the gravestones that I was looking for. So we were able to find
in Schumacher Cemetery. He went there ahead of time.
He went there ahead of time, and I would probably not have found, what he found for me.
Mm-hmm.
So we found Wenzel Teichler and his wife Amelie, and Wenzel is my great grandmother's cousin.
Neat.
Settled in Dorr with his family, and I found some of his children, and that was really awesome. And then and some of his grandchildren, Wenzel's children, and some grandchildren there. And we went to Bayside, and we found the remaining child of his that married a Seiler.
Okay.
And I actually found some of the stones that I was looking for that weren't on Find a Grave.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, so I was really pleased with that. So that was the very unfortunate Teresa Rose Teichler, who took the lives of her 2 children and found herself in the bay.
Oh.
And that was in 1896.
Mm-hmm.
There was quite an article written in the paper about it.
Yeah, I remember. That was a very sad story.
Yeah.
Did you find the homestead area?
Maybe. I looked I poured over at first I thought it was going to be easy. I should really always check with reality about what I think is going to be easy. But for some reason I was turned around. I felt like north was west or something, and that was not helping me.
Mm-hmm.
But the plat maps, one of them had Haynesville Road mislabeled on the plat map.
Okay.
So it was like one full, whatever you call that, like farming block of land. Mom, what do you call that on a plat map?
A plat map is.
No, I mean there's big, the big
it's
square.
about a mile.
Yeah.
The sections.
Yeah, this section. So it was like one section off.
Mm-hmm.
But I eventually sat there while everyone else was looking for a movie to watch. And I went back and forth because I brought my laptop, and I figured out that it's Bayside Road that the farmhouse was probably on. Now, I did not get to meet up with John Teichler. I don't know what happened.
Mm-hmm.
But he had told me over the phone where he thought the house was and that it had been remodeled. So it was something like 2688 Bay Shore Drive, or Sand Bay Road, sorry, Sand Bay Road, which runs parallel to Haynesville Road. And so I was able, I didn't take pictures or go super slow, but, there it was. And I think that their pasture land, their farmland and pasture land is too far into the edge of Potawatomi Park. Like, because on one side, if you drive down whatever, maybe Park is the name of the road, to the left, if you're going toward the water, to the left was Haynesville, and to the right was a road which is taken over by the state park. So you can't drive on that road. I think if I had been able to drive on that road, that would have taken me back to where the pasture land was.
I see. It looked like the one piece of land had no road going to it.
Yeah.
So that might be part of the problem.
Yeah. So it was pretty cool. And I really did enjoy felt satisfied with finding the graves of
the
Teresa and to be able to put names to her 2 little children. Because even on Find a Grave, they weren't there. I couldn't find them on Family Search. I couldn't find them on Ancestry. I couldn't find them on MyHeritage. So
Are
Are you going to enter them on to Find a Grave?
I did. I suggested, I don't know, someone else has the whatever you want to call that, ownership of those 2 graves, but I did make some suggestions and they took the one. The one little boy's name was William. And I think that was on Family Search. I was able to find that. But the other little boy's name was Albert. And I suggested that to Find a Grave so that they, and a picture, because it's a grave that's kind of, it's one grave and it has 3 humps. Mm-hmm. And on the top is the writing. There's no writing on the side. And it's very worn down and was covered over with that hard kind of
lichen, probably lichen.
Right. So I really had to like feel it with my hands and also kind of, we came back the next day or the day after because I really had to test it out, because sometimes when I want to see a certain word in something, I see that word instead of maybe what it says. And because I wanted it to say Teresa so bad, I just wanted to make sure that it actually did. And it in fact did. It said Albert Willie in the middle and Teresa.
And the Peninsula Genealogical Society that's disbanded used to go out and clean gravestones. And I think they have instructions for that on their website, but I'm sure you can find it many places.
Yeah, we didn't wind up having enough time to clean or so on. I was just really glad to have found them.
To find it, yeah. Well, I'm glad you had success here.
Yeah.
For those of you who are joining, Tom and Steve, who are here hi Steve, another Steve, Steve Osterhaus, were not able to come today. So we are just going to wing it. But I'm glad to hear about your trip. And Steve Johnson was the one who let you know about the current person who's in the county, right?
Yes,
so
thank you.
She was just telling us about her trip to see the land and the graves here in Door County.
At the corner with not Samuelson.
I'm here.
Oh, you're here.
Schumacher.
Problems with that.
Oh, you can't.
Schumacher Cemetery, right?
Yeah.
I'll be here.
Yeah.
What was the last name again that you were looking for?
Teichler.
Oh yeah, did you talk to John?
You know, I talked to John before I left, but I wasn't able to get a hold of him during our trip. So I hope everything's okay with him.
He's at the Justice Center almost all the time, I think, unless he's out.
Well, he gave me, I think what he preferred me to call on a different phone number.
Okay, well, yeah, right. Because it's personal. And did you find that article?
The article of
newspaper, Dark County Democrat, or whatever.
Oh, the
Sturgeon Bay News or something.
Yeah, like yes,
the obituary.
The obituary on Wenzel, which was much more extensive than the one that I had, which was really great because then I could find on that one. I could find that he had a sister in Chicago.
Thank Laura for that because it's all digitized. That's the only.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah,
beautiful. So be able to just look up a last name is like a dream come true. Wish I could do that with some of my other family elsewhere.
There was a lot of brothers and sisters or kids, 4 kids, and there must be more people.
Yeah.
Do you have newspapers.com, Carlene?
No, I don't. It's pretty expensive and we haven't taken that leap.
Okay. They do run specials occasionally, but Chronicling America is free. It's another newspaper site.
Huh.
If you look at our library website, I have a whole bunch of newspaper links there. And Wikipedia has a page of newspapers for all over the world, but the United States and what's available in what format. So you can look at that to find out if the papers in your area are available one place or another. We also have a subscription to an database called Archive News something through the state of Wisconsin, if you have a library card, which you can look up. And we do have newspapers.com, I think, but has anyone noticed that they're charging more money than they used to?
A little bit, but I've gotten it two ways. I wait for whenever they come through with a special. And then also I got a 6-month special on Ancestry All Access, which includes the basic newspaper subscription, which I upgraded for just $29.95 more for the full-blown affair. But I usually get them on specials. I just wait till they have something.
Family History Center usually has that you can access it through their libraries.
Yeah, except they're all closed.
Oh, they're all closed, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. And I think our closest Family History Center is Green Bay, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I haven't used it yet, but.
But I've noticed also, we used to be able to get the Press Gazette. My friend has a subscription and she used to be able to get the Press Gazette, but now it has a lock on it and it says extra.
Yeah.
There's extra. You have to pay for certain papers. So
Most of them.
Yeah, most of them. So what's the point of that? I don't understand. That's fairly new, right?
Yeah, Laura, do you have a direct link to WisCat on the library website? I thought you used to. Right.
I don't. There is one on the InfoSoup website.
Oh, there is.
Yeah, you can just type in WisCat.
Yeah.
And you should be able to pull it up. And what were you looking for there?
I can't remember. It was something that wasn't in any of the Owl's Net collections.
Yeah, and all the Wisconsin papers are available through the university. If you type in MadCat library, it'll pull up the, I think I showed this not too long ago. It pulls up the library catalog, and if you type in a city and narrow the format down to newspapers, you can see the actual microfilms for the newspapers, the numbers on the microfilms, and then I can order any of those for you if they're not available online for Wisconsin newspapers. So they can come in here. So anyone wants those, let me know. Does anyone have anything special to say? Because I'd like to show you, everyone, quickly something that I think might be of interest to you. I don't know if you ever do electronic books, obviously newspapers, but we do have through the InfoSoup libraries a subscription to an app called RBDigital, and they do audiobooks and they do magazines, and they've just been purchased by Overdrive, another company, and they're going to be changing. So temporarily for this year, instead of having a subscription to 100 magazines, we have 3,000.
Oh my.
So there's all sorts of crazy languages in there, but I wanted to show you how to find it because it does have Family Tree magazine, which is kind of useful, and you might as well have a look at it while we have that subscription. So let me quickly show you how to do that. And if you go to DoorCountyLibrary.org, here's the downloadable library link. And by the way, there's lots of like DNA books and all sorts of books on Hoopla. But here's RBDigital. You'll have to create an account for this one in order to access this. And I have, this is my account here right now, I think. I have it. Do I have it, not have it logged in? Oh, I logged in on another tab. So here's my subscription. You can see the audiobooks and the magazines, but if you go to search, you have to switch it to magazines, and then you can try family. I looked for other family sorts of things, but really family tree. What? This is, so here's, some of these are special one issue magazines, but here's the actual subscription. And you can see the latest they have is September 1st, 2020. And you can see older subscriptions down here. And it goes back. So you can check one of these out. I actually checked out, since I have a lot of Germans, I checked out this one. And then it is in my list here. So let's see, where does it checked out? Here we go. So here is the magazine. And when you actually open it up, it flips through as if it were a real magazine. So now's a good time to read that magazine if you want to have a look at it.
And then how do you proceed? You do a checkout as if you're checking out a book from a library? I mean, it's free?
It's free, yeah.
Okay. You check it out, then you read it, and then you return it, I guess, right?
Or you can return it or just leave it there. We also have Wisconsin Magazine of History, and there's just so many different magazines. It's amazing. But as I said, if you go up here, search, I can go ahead and check one out quickly so you see. And I think basically the way it works is they have a certain number and quite a few magazines. And if the system meets that level, then they would, you know, you wouldn't be able to check it out. But there you go. It's just that simple. Once you create your account.
But you do need to return it, right?
No.
Oh.
You can, and you know, some of these are big files. So if you put them on your iPad or something, you wouldn't necessarily want to keep it there forever. So
okay.
Return it, but and you can make it bigger, you know, all sorts of things depending on your. It's kind of hard to read on a cell phone, but you can see that you can make it bigger here like this. So I would recommend trying this out while you have a chance.
Huh.
So, because that's a pretty good magazine. It has a lot of good tips in it. So anyone have anything that they've encountered this week?
Well, eventually I'm going to try to finish an application for DAR, but, and I kind of haven't been real good at writing to places. And I actually needed my parents' marriage license. I have each of their birth certificates, but I needed their marriage license. So I finally, even during this COVID time, went online because they were married in Nebraska. Mm-hmm. So I went online and it was easy peasy to do, to request it. And they're fully detailed what you need to do and so on and so forth. So I did it, but you do have to mail it in via snail mail because you have to send a check. And anyway, they even during all the COVID time, I think I got that thing back in about a week or 10 days max. But they did need my birth certificate, a copy, because they had to prove I was the child of these people. So I just turned around, sent that all back. And I bet the whole thing was completed within 2 weeks. So I was very impressed with the vital records in Nebraska. It really worked. So anyway, so I've got that now. Another step.
When will you be applying? Has anyone else applied for something like that?
I don't know what you're talking about. What
the
is
Daughters of the American Revolution organization, the DAR?
Well, I did a kind of in a excuse me, a hiatus. I did go to the closest chapter. Well, you go on to their site, dar.org, and then you put your location in and they send you what's the closest chapter near you. I did go there. They had some sort of I don't know what they call it, some sort of a day held at the library in De Pere of anybody wanting assistance and so on and so forth. It was very well run. I just personally, I could not connect with the person that I was assigned to. And it, well, you know, that didn't work out, but I knew what I needed to do. So I'm starting to accumulate. And the hardest point is, oh golly, great. He's got to be my third great grandfather. His brother has been, what do they call it? But he is a patriot. Someone else has applied under his brother, whom I know to be his brother. However, I can't really prove he's his brother. I haven't quite found that piece, whether it's a will or a deed or anything that proves the connection. I mean, I know it to be true, but you know, you got to prove that. So I'm kind of, that's going to be a search for a long time. But I'm going to give it another whirl. And they do say, I've heard, because I belong to a couple of Facebook groups, and in talking about this topic, they do say that sometimes if you don't have it just quite totally correct, that you're just missing a piece or two, that the registrar of the chapter, they will help and seek the information for you or with you. So
Interesting.
you don't apparently need to have full, there will be assistance, but like I said, I just didn't have a good connection, but I think next time around I'll give it another whirl. So I'm looking forward to doing that sometime soon.
That's a good challenge.
Oh, it is. It is, to get all the little ducks in a row. And they're much more particular now than they were years ago when many women joined the DAR. They were a little looser, and I'm finding that they're actually going back and re-looking at some of the submissions from earlier and marking them as their terminology, but it's kind of a, you know, we're not sure about this one type of thing. Yeah. So it's kind of interesting.
But you can use, if somebody has turned a whole, you know, thing in, you can use the people that are in there already, because they've been supposedly proven, except for these one now that they're marking as questionable, right?
That's that's correct. Except so some people may have to research more and others do not. The problem, they can use that man's records and they may have information that they're privy to that I am not, because there are certain records when you're on the public website for DAR. They're, forgot the term they use, but you can get more of the application. So you really don't know if your person might have been mentioned in the other person, the Patriots, established Patriots record or not. That could be, and you're right, Gretchen, you might not have to go back as far. They'll pick up at that juncture and then prove you back. So I do need to figure out whether my guy is listed somewhere in their record keeping, but I have not been successful yet.
Yeah, Ancestry, I think, has quite a few DAR, you know, DAR, SAR, whatever it is, records. You know, when you're researching a person, I think it's Ancestry that has those, because I encounter them all the time on Dan's.
Well, usually there's, I found there's usually a reference to a DAR publication where they have books that they put together over the many years with a listing, but you actually have better access if you go through the DAR.org, because they don't release the records too readily. So all I found when I found the DAR mentions, it's not a full record. It's just a name that's in a book, in an index. So I haven't had any luck, unless I'm looking in the wrong place with it. That could be too.
Well, it might not be Ancestry. It might be like the New England Genealogy and Historical Society, which I have a number of too.
Yeah.
They may have them there. It might be where it is.
I know someone here was working on the Sons of the American Revolution. I don't know if he ever got in, but I once had a lady come who was in the Magna Carta group.
Oh my word.
Wow.
Can you imagine?
There are so many of those, they call them lineal societies.
Yes, they are.
There are so many. You could end up joining, you know, the Mayflower group,
my husband is actually in that Magna Carta group.
Is he?
It's on the first Farwell that came, his wife's side. They go back to, like, you know, Henry II, or, you know, several of the English kings. And those genealogies are well established.
Oh, yeah.
So if you can hook up to one of those, you know, you can really go way back.
Yeah.
Which is, it's very interesting.
Well, I have
much, but you know, it's interesting.
Yeah. It's fun. It's a puzzle. It's always a puzzle to see how everything fits, isn't it? I had one person. So, oh, go on.
I was just going to say, I just love it when friends or people who really don't know say, well, are you finished yet? And I say, you are never finished with your genealogy.
No. I had one question on a library Facebook page. Someone is asking how to approach printing a book of their family history. Has anyone done that? No?
Not yet.
Well, there's so many of those companies let you print books these days, but, and I mentioned that to her, but she said she specifically wanted to know how you would organize the records, who should be the first person listed, and you know, there are guides. There's like a family tree guide to that, but
oh yes, there's a lot of help out there on that.
Yeah.
You could buy books on how to do a book.
And here in the library, we have every shape and size. It's just amazing.
I think too that they, again, I follow 3 user groups, Family Tree Maker, Legacy, Roots Magic. I follow their Facebook groups, and because I'm trying to decide what software I want. But there are, the people on those are commenting that within those programs, whichever one you're chosen, there is apparently a section where it's put together. It's kind of, do you want to put this together in book form? So there's templates and whatnot in there. So if your person, Laura, has is a software program, they could look somewhere in one of the tabs in their program, and it might have some templates for them or something for arranging, possibly.
Yeah. Does anyone have any questions they're working on or anything you want to bring up? Well, I have a question. No, go on, Steve. Oh.
Well, I'm still puzzled. I've got a 2011 Family Tree Maker. I didn't update some, and I want to transfer it to another computer. And I don't know that I can, but I want to buy a newer one, but that Kiev did. But I still don't know what to do because they say there's some problems with the newest one.
Do you want to stay with Family Tree Maker?
I like it. They brought out a new one, but I heard it was very unstable.
Oh,
the new one's unstable, or the old one?
That's what I heard.
Huh.
Well, I don't know. Again, in reading in my groups, it doesn't appear to be that you could, if you have Family Tree Maker now, you can simply go and update it.
Well, 2014, but I've got 2011.
Right. They can take all
that. You can do a GEDcom, right?
Yeah, if you wanted to move it to a different program, you could do a GEDcom and send it over. But if you stay within the same program, like FTM, you can probably, or it seems like you just tell them you want to buy a new version, updated version.
Anybody have Family Tree Maker now?
I do. And I think you have to have more of a current one before you can just upgrade. He's got an old one. You'd probably have to buy a whole new program.
I don't care about buying it. I want to transfer it.
Oh.
I'll buy it.
But well, I'm sure it'll upgrade automatically if you buy the new program.
Yeah, but it's on a different computer.
Well, I don't think that makes a difference.
Really, shouldn't make any difference.
No, usually you get like a license for when you buy one, you can use it on 2 or 3 or something computers usually.
But he's wondering how to transfer the information. Usually you download it as a file called a GED file. Have you done that? And then upload it.
Yeah, it's not hard to do, really. Sometimes.
Well, they will give you the download when you buy the new upgrade anyway, and you can just download it on the new computer. I think it's all transparent based on the download. Just, you know, just wait until you get the new computer and then just buy the new upgrade.
No, I'm on it.
You're on it now, or?
Yeah, the other one's a really old computer. It's a Windows 98 or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I would go in and just
From
purchase
Walmart.
it. Yeah, and just download it. I have a question. We're currently on a 6-month subscription of Ancestry, which is coming due. And rather than continue the subscription, because the library now has the World Ancestry available, what, to the end of the year? Is that correct, Laura?
I think they have, it's called the library edition. So yeah. I don't know.
It's not full. It's
No.
not full edition.
And it is available, they say, until the end of the year from home. Other than that, it would be available in the library network on your computer or on one of our computers.
Yeah, but how is that? Would I handicap myself in any way by canceling my subscription to Ancestry?
Well, if you didn't download, first of all, the information that you solicited from Ancestry, you have to download onto your computer in order to keep it. Because if you don't subscribe, you can't access it.
You can't see the hints and all of that thing.
I see. That's right. Yeah. Okay, I understand that. But I have it synced right now with Family Tree Maker, and every time I use Family Tree Maker, I do the syncing process. So I would probably only be a few months behind if I terminated my subscription for 6 months.
Yeah, but then the only thing there is that if you, again, if you just, if you don't have whatever you looked up on Ancestry, download it onto your own personal computer where you have it. If you didn't do that, no matter you sync or not sync, you won't be able to see it. If you didn't. Okay.
The documents themselves.
Right.
Okay.
They're there, you won't lose them, but till you pay up again, they won't let you see them.
So you'll see that there's a document there, but you won't be able to open it.
Yeah.
Now you could have two browsers and you could have yours open without seeing the document. You could use the library subscription on the other one and then, download it, but it's a lot more work.
Yeah, okay.
But once you download a document and upload it, it stays forever. It doesn't disappear. It's only the subscription version that you cannot see if you're not subscribed.
But also on the library edition, it's good, but you do have access to more things, like Gretchen said, if you have a paid subscription.
Yeah. Okay.
It's limited a bit.
Yeah, okay.
But some people will cancel it and then pick it up for a short time and cancel it and pick it up.
That's what I've done. I wait till they have a deal.
And you can Google coupons for Ancestry or different things, and sometimes you'll find deals that way.
I'll give that a try.
Yeah. The best I could do was $99 for 6 months for all access, which is FoldThrough. Yeah, FoldThrough, Newspaperscom basic, and Ancestry. That's the best deal I could make. But I'm at the point in my research now that I need access to more recent, like 1910 and on, newspaper articles, which you don't get in the all access.
No.
You have you have to do a little upgrade. And so I call them and argue with them, and it ended up for $30 more. I could get everything current, which was a pretty good price from where we started before I bargained.
Well, and we do have that subscription through Badgerlink also to some newspapers, so be sure to check that too. It's a kind of puzzle to figure out where everything is these days. But
I think I was using newspapers through the library system, and then we have a very sensational story in my husband's history where there were all kinds of newspaper articles. So I was downloading that, and I ran up against a limit.
Yeah.
So
limit
that I couldn't do any more downloads.
I'm not sure about that.
But
Which
that was
database
that was about a couple of years ago now. It may have, you know, things may have changed.
Well, were you downloading from one newspaper only?
Yeah, well, there were a couple of Madison newspapers.
Okay, because maybe you, I don't know, maybe you were on the Madison newspaper site.
No,
That's where
this is the one. Well, the university has it. I could actually get it that way, so that's why I didn't pursue it. But this was through the library, our library website, where I got into.
Because I know there sometimes I've gone just on my own into a newspaper's website to see what their archives might be. And they tell you you only get 3 or 4 or 5 free downloads. Otherwise, you have to subscribe. Right.
Yeah.
But that's when I kind of directly go to that newspaper rather than through an archive. And then some of the archives, the reason you have to pay a little bit more on Ancestry or on the newspapers.com is because those are still under copyright laws. So that's why they're not necessarily available on like Ancestry or Family Search or something like that. So I don't know.
Well, and I subscribe to Genealogy Bank because
oh, do you?
I do. I just keep paying that subscription because it has, I'm from Rockford, Illinois originally, and it has, I don't know, 80 years, 90 years of Rockford, you know, newspapers. I could spend my life looking up articles there because of some of my family members were in the newspapers a lot.
Well, you know, it's funny you said that because my most of my family's from Maryland, but via a transfer in 1940, we went to Milwaukee. And for a long time, I was getting articles out of the Milwaukee Journal, Milwaukee Sentinel online archives. Then all of a sudden they weren't available anymore. And they turned up, I don't remember now if it was on newspapers or some other group. Then apparently they couldn't come to a deal because then it was back at the newspaper again. So I gotta say, I haven't looked in quite a while, but they used to be free access to people.
The story behind that is Google digitized them. They had a big project, which they have discontinued. So they had them digitized with the help of the Milwaukee Library. And then newspapers.com, I think, got involved, and they're making deals all over. So they basically took it over. And that's when they took it down, and then people were upset. So now you can get the access, as I understand it, in Milwaukee, but not everywhere. And the truth is, I had newspapers.com call here, and they said, since the Advocate was closed and they no longer have access to the old newspapers through Gazette, they had a deal with Gazette, and they said, if we would send our microfilms to them, they would digitize them and then give just Door County Library the access, nobody else. So that's obviously how they do those publisher special deals. And we had already digitized most of ours with the help of the Advocate. So we didn't agree to that anyway, but that's the way they're working these deals, I think.
Okay.
And Gazette actually didn't purchase the paper until like 2000, I forget what it was, 2004 or something. So before that, as I understand it, it was not copyrighted, the paper as a whole. The problem comes with bylines, which are in some cases copyrighted. But we have a notice on our papers that if there's any problem, let us know and we take it down. However, you know, it is copyright is part of the issue, but also they're making these deals.
Yes.
That is, they're trying to get control of everything. So I'm not too happy with them.
There's some major problems too, because there are some newspapers that aren't there at all. I've been looking for the St. Paul newspapers, 20th century St. Paul newspapers forever, like the St. Paul Pioneer Press. It's not digitized as far as I know.
Can I show you something quickly? If I go back, whoops, wrong one, wrong browser. Sorry, I wasn't expecting to do this, but let me open this. quickly. All of this tricky stuff with screen sharing and everything. Do you see this now?
No.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta,
Not yet.
I'll get there, 1 second. You have to open things first, and then there it is. Here's our library website, and of course, here's the genealogy page. And since I digitized papers, that's my special interest.
It's not on the
So,
screen.
you're not seeing this?
No, it just says Zoom.
Oh, I'm seeing it.
Yeah, I see it.
It's on my
I'm
screen.
seeing it. Yeah.
So this is our library genealogy local history page. Is everyone seeing that?
Yeah.
I'm not.
Uh-oh.
You gotta split your screen somehow.
Wait a minute. Let me see about this.
You gotta split your screen somehow.
So anyway, you can look at this also later on our library website, the genealogy. You see this whole section on
Yes.
newspapers?
Yeah.
There's one on Wikipedia here
Uh-huh.
that lists newspapers that have been digitized. And I think
Oh,
they're pretty
excellent.
complete. So here you have all of the countries and of course the United States down here. So if you go to
That
say,
Ireland, I saw.
Minnesota.
yeah.
Oh.
And so here's,
Okay.
they're listing here
Wow.
our newspapers and they're explaining that it's free. And then there's a link there and these are some of the different ones. So if you go to Minnesota, I'm not sure, I know they had a big newspaper digitation project in Minnesota, which I studied in the past.
Oh, I got it now.
Okay.
I don't know what I did, but I clicked a couple of things and
I
I,
should have just gone back.
Is
and gone
this
straight
only
to
for
Minnesota.
Door County residents? You need a
This is-
library card?
No, this is Wikipedia.
It's on Wikipedia.
Oh, Wikipedia, okay.
But it's a useful link because so here's the, you know, you can see free, the different newspapers and what has been digitized.
Mitchie,
Quite a bit here, right?
St. Paul, there's the St. Paul.
Yeah.
But those
And-
are the early ones that they,
Are you
I
sure?
think.
Well, let's see, St.
Right
Paul.
there it is.
But
Yeah.
Pioneer Press isn't there.
The
They actually
Daily
have
Mail.
some of them that are kind of late too, because they've had such a strong digitation project going on. So anyway, that's some place to look.
Sure.
But there are all these newspaper things. Here's ours. Here's the newspaper.com one for the library with the library card. This is one that is a database like newspapers.com. At one point we had the entire country, but then they narrowed it down to just, has anyone
There's
used it?
there's an Algoma and Kiwani one there, I noticed.
Yeah, they copied our, went ahead and copied our newspaper project with Rescarta.
What about their papers?
They've digitized theirs, but they're not, I don't think they're too current.
Okay. Because
Now I can't.
papers.
2138900.
They even had the Farmer's Friend paper.
Yeah, there's some really fun ones. Whoops, I can't even think of my library card. 213.
You have it memorized?
I did.
Or don't.
Had
So
it
this is,
revoked.
I don't know why it's not working well for me, but this does have newspapers all over Wisconsin.
Okay.
And you might check that. That's not going to be Minnesota, but it's all over, you know, Madison, Milwaukee, lots of them are in there, including some Door County papers. And another fun one that I like is this elephant.
here,
Is that in?
elephant. Well, right above Google Patents.
There you go. This is, believe it or not, in New Zealand. And when I was researching newspapers, when I first digitized our papers, I came across this. And they have been basically sending out these spiders, they call it, to crawl different newspapers and they have a huge collection here, a lot of, you know, Australia and different countries like that, because it is in New Zealand, but they have many of our papers in here and some Illinois papers. I found some really fun, even 1700, early 1800 farm newspapers for
Oh,
Illinois.
really? That far back?
Yeah, it's
Wow.
incredible. So I'd have a look at that. I was looking up for the seed library, the way they were doing the German square gardening at Crossroads. So, and there are articles in those old farm newspapers from Illinois. So have a look at all of these things and maybe you'll find something that will help you. And if you find a good link for newspapers that's not there, let me know and I'll add it. In fact, if you think there's a link that I should have, I try to focus a lot on Door County, but you know, any research tools that people will be using. So let me know if you have something you think I should add. So there you go.
Yeah, that's very cool. Thank you.
Yeah. So I am going to have to leave by 3 since I have to man the greeter desk. Has anyone been in the library lately?
Yep, yesterday. I was there yesterday.
You know that we have a greeter who will give.
Oh, yes. Give you a little number, give you the hand sanitizer.
How many people can be there?
And then tell you that
at a time.
And if you touch a book,
put it in the basket, and it's
which you don't really want to take, check out, you put it in the basket at the end of the little aisles.
See, she knows.
Oh, yeah.
So how many people can be in the library at any time?
10 people, but we almost never meet that.
Really?
Limit. Yeah.
Oh, no, you can leave your purse on the bench and walk down an aisle and look at something and come back and there's been no one near it.
Yeah.
And I like it because it's quiet.
Yeah.
See, I'm a devotee of quiet libraries. I don't like all that chit chat in the library. So I'm happy as a clam.
Well, good. But people do run in and get books these days, but you can also, if you need help with genealogy, certainly you can contact me and I'm glad to look up obituaries and things like that. All the time I do that. It's my favorite part of my job. So I have a quick question before we're going to wrap up. Has anyone done much military research? I know you're working on the DAR, but
little bit.
I have looked at FoldThrough and they do list people and they do just give information, but if you, I know you through the National Archives, I think you can get a military record.
Yep.
And do you think it's worth it? I think it costs money.
Yeah, it does.
And I'm looking for someone who was in the Mexican War. And I'm wondering if it would be worthwhile paying the money to get more information, or is it going to be pretty much what they have on FoldThrough? Does anyone have any clue about that?
I think most of FoldThrough supposedly comes from NARA, but the National Archives, but not everything. The full details, you have to usually fill out a form and get it from the National Archives. And my understanding, I haven't done it. And it's interesting you said Mexican War because I have.
Mexican American War, 1846.
Mexican, I do too. He died in 1847 and he was in the Mexican War. And I have not pursued it, but I'd like to. But you do, apparently the length of the report is the dollars you'll spend. Yes. So it might be a little lesser, or if it's a lengthy report, it might be more. But they will tell you all about how to do it and how much. There have been people that said, again, some of my groups I belong to have said, oh, it was so well worth it because all these names were mentioned and blah, blah, and dates. And then other people said, nah, I didn't get, it wasn't really worth it. So it sounds to me a little bit like a crapshoot. You're going to,
we had a research group that worked on my husband's ancestor who was in the Civil War. He was in the Iron Brigade. And at that time, you could get extensive files from the National Archives and for a really inexpensive price. But the price completely blew up at some point. I mean, where you might have paid $15 or something for a very thick file. And then it went up to over $100 or something like that. So now his file was pretty thick. I mean, we actually have several of them. Then they were every page was photocopied. So, but I don't know the reason I've never joined FoldThrough is, first of all, we had these records, and I don't even know how many if they have complete files of all the pension records, the Civil War pensions.
They do.
I don't think so.
It seems to be, to me, hit or miss. It's just I get the FoldThrough because it's an adjunct to the deal I get with Ancestry.
Yep.
And I do use it a little bit, but it's an extremely difficult, I think, website to navigate. It just,
I agree.
yeah.
You've tried to, Nicole?
Yeah, I've had such a hard time on it.
And sometimes you hit and sometimes you don't. And now they've added not just military, but they've added city directories, the yearbooks, all this other gobbledygook. They should have just stuck to the military, in my opinion. It's just extremely difficult. And it's like a 3-column matching situation. You got this column and this column and this column. And you get, like, you want to search Revolutionary War in one, but then, like Ancestry, it often doesn't read the dates you put in. It gives you everything when you're only looking for a specific period. But it's a hard site to navigate. But I don't know. It's nice to have, but I don't think I buy it on its own.
Well, and Ancestry has yearbooks and directories and all those things. So are they duplicating what Ancestry has, or is it something?
You know, that thing is such a gobbledygook. Who knows? I mean, it just seems like, I find Ancestry actually worse now for searching.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I think I lost somebody there.
Steve, did you have something to add?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I multitasked while you were talking. And I went to those sites that you were talking about, the different counties, the publications, and there's a Norwegian Skagen or something like that site. And then there's a book in there, and it's got a list of all the families in Manitowoc.
Yeah.
Families. And I knew my great-grandfather came to Manitowoc. I just went through there. There's a mini biography about him in there with all the relatives and when they were confirmed and everything else. Some of it is information I don't have.
Oh, good.
I'm very impressed with this particular presentation.
Oh, thank you.
I found
It's
something
always
I didn't
nice
know.
when someone learns something new.
I didn't know I could look in Manitowoc for local stuff.
Yeah, when people mention things like that, I add them to the list. So
I always get so excited when I find just the littlest tidbit of something, and it's enough to make you happy for a few days.
well, there's a fairly new book on the Mexican-American War that's very, very complete. And so I've got that checked out right now. And it is interesting because it talks about the men who were in the regular army. And then all of a sudden in 1846, I think they added a lot of volunteers who were actually from a higher class family, but more sort of not trained. And so it talks about that. And I'm pretty sure my ancestor who came from Germany and joined up then is that in that group.
What is the book?
We gotta drain it. Leave it out there. Leave it out. I'll drain it.
The title of the book, I think I will have to look it up, but it's fairly new and very, very thick. So let me see if I can find it.
Also, there's a Mexican-American War Facebook group.
Is there?
Yeah, I joined it, and I don't know. You learn a lot. I don't follow the battles per se. I mean, I just was kind of looking for my ancestry. The Dead March.
The Dead March. That's
Guardino? Peter Guardino?
The History of the Mexican-American War by Guardino, yeah. And it's in the catalog.
The Dead March?
Yeah, the Dead March. Yeah, very complete.
I'll send you that.
That Facebook group?
That Facebook group.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, does anyone have anything to bring up? Otherwise, I might call this meeting to a close, and then we can meet back. We're doing this on the 1st and 3rd Thursday of the month. Yep. So we'll meet back in November.
Okay. Thanks, Laura.
Thanks, Laura.
Thank you.
By the way, Thanksgiving's the 4th, right? Thursday?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye everybody.
Bye.